Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
I feel like the entire offseason just actually started. Post-NFL draft gets hella boring. I found myself on the internet.
I was just going to say,
the internet the other day looking up when OTAs and training camps start, because now I'm just going to be bored.
This gap between the NFL draft and preseason even.
It's horrible.
It's tough, man.
But anyway, welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's going on?
We got some interesting stuff to bring you today, but I did want to note that the NFL has the longest offseason. And it's probably the most entertaining sport. I know you might disagree with that.
No, it is.
Okay, all right. Most entertaining sport, and it happens to only be, 6 months? Maybe 5 months?
Yeah.
It's freaking ridiculous.
That stinks.
But anyway, today we're going to bring you, we're going to try to make this offseason as interesting as humanly possible. So we're going to give you our top 5 rookies in fantasy football for 2021. These are top 5 rookies, not for rookie drafts. This is not our top 5 list.
This is redraft.
Because it would probably just be quarterbacks.
Yeah. This is just the top 5 rookies that we think are going to succeed in redraft.
Yes.
For the 2020
Because I believe, let me
20 season.
Yeah, it's 2021.
Is it 2020?
Yes, it's 2020.
It's 2020.
No, it's 2021.
It doesn't. The 2021 season would be next year.
It's for that season. No,
you're confusing me, man.
It's not 2020. It's 2021, bro.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I thought this was 2020.
I was like, dude, what? I didn't say 2022,
dude.
Anyway,
that's
so
sad.
I believe
that's really sad.
Yeah. Okay, so this week is our last rookie anything. We got top 5 rookies today, and then on Thursday we're going to talk about players you shouldn't draft in rookie drafts, and then after that, we're jumping right into the redraft content for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
June, July, August. Yeah, that's 3 months. I can't wait for draft month, dude.
That's going to be fun.
I can't wait. So anyway, we're going to do top 5 rookies for 2021 fantasy football in redraft. Maybe I'll put a little tag in the video, redraft. So before we jump into that, last week on Tuesday's show, I just jumped right into whatever. Were you doing mock or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we jumped right in, and I totally didn't read any of the information that you need to know. Before we jump into any of this, follow us on all social media platforms. Just go to a social media platform. We're not on Clubhouse or something. Is that a social media platform? I'm an old...
I don't know, bro.
I feel like I'm an old... So many social media platforms are coming out, and I feel like I'm turning into that old man that
I
doesn't
have
know
no idea with that one.
I think it's some kind of communication app where you live stream yourself and everyone asks questions. I have no idea. Anyway, so you can follow us on any social media platforms. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, leave a review, share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. Like and comment down below. Any questions you have that have something to do with this list, maybe they don't have something to do with this list, please pay attention to the words that we say, because we get a lot of comments that don't make any sense. One guy commented that we hated Kyle Pitts.
Well, that does make a lot of sense.
I don't hate Kyle Pitts.
We'll talk about it.
In Dynasty, it's a good pick. Kyle Pitts. I mean, too early, but it's a good pick. In redrafts,
okay. Let's talk about it.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. So number 1 on our list for the top 5 rookies for the 2021 fantasy football season, I would probably take Najee.
I would do Najee too.
Najee, I like that. Like how you say
Najee.
But
Najee.
Harris literally went to probably the most perfect location he could have gone to.
Yep.
I was sitting. You had left my house after we had watched the draft. It was around pick 20. Everyone left because they're all lame, and I was putting stuff away.
It was 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's true. It was pick 24, I think, for Pittsburgh, and I was putting stuff away, and then they said, "And the Pittsburgh Steelers select Najee Harris," and my wife's sleeping, and I went, "Yes!" Middle of the kitchen. I was that excited. I have compared Najee Harris to a one Derrick Henry. In the sense, I don't think he's actually going to be Derrick Henry. I think he runs like Derrick Henry because he's big.
It's such a
it's a lofty.
It's like the new Tyreek Hill comparison where every small speedy receiver is compared to Tyreek Hill. But yeah, no,
he's just big and he can pass catch.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. I don't think he's as dominant as a runner as Derrick Henry is, but I think he's a better. He could be a better pass catcher. I think he is a better pass catcher than Derrick Henry. So he's got that sort of upside for fantasy relevance. So like in PPR, for example, I think he's going to be great. Like the drop downs from Big Ben. Look at Le'Veon Bell. Look at James Conner a few years ago when he took over for Le'Veon Bell originally. So that's going to be a factor. Mike Tomlin loves workhorse running backs. That's going to be a factor. Everything is perfect. The only thing I am concerned about
offensive line
is the offensive line. That still makes me so nervous. But I already have one share of Najee, so
you just got to go all in. I don't have a single share of Najee, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen in several leagues. I think for me, I don't think Najee is Derrick Henry. I just think that he runs the same style as Derrick Henry. He's big, 230 pounds, 6'1". I can't remember.
Yeah, he's 6 foot.
He's very big. He's big for a running back. And a lot of people thought Derrick Henry would get plowed over because of the fact that he's so tall and large.
Which is dumb.
Yeah, but I mean like
6'2", 230.
And this is a complaint with Najee, but usually running backs that are tall run up. They don't run down.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're Derrick Henry or even potentially Najee Harris.
But anyway, Najee is this big back that usually these bigger backs, they just have brick hands like Derrick Henry does. And they can't catch the ball. Najee can catch the ball.
Yep.
He can catch the ball. I'm going to pull it up right now because I have Amari Rogers queued up in my my player profiler. I like him.
Amari Rogers.
So he had a total of the last 2 years in his collegiate career. He had 27 receptions, and then he had 43 receptions in his final year in 2020. Usually you want your running backs coming out of the college football game with 25 or more receptions on the season. And the fact that he hit 43, 43 is good for a NFL running back.
Yeah.
And he did it in college. So I feel like Najee is most definitely, especially like you said with Noodle Arm Ben over there, they're going to throw it to lots of the running back position.
He does.
Najee is going to get 300 touches. I'm increasingly convinced that he is going to end up with 300 plus touches because that's what they do. I mean, James Conner was pacing out to that total whenever he was on the field. And so the major thing for me with Najee is that if he can stay healthy, he'll get 275 to 300 touches. It'll be easy. It's just the question is that offensive line and how efficient are those reps going to be? But even like you look at Le'Veon Bell, he's not an efficient running back. He had 0.7 most points in his career. He had 0.7 fantasy point per opportunity. You want like around 0.9 to 0.1. 0.9 to 1 is where you want to be at. And so Le'Veon Bell, but because he was getting 300 to 350 touches, it didn't matter. So if that's what Najee does, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Now, the real question is, Rick, you're sitting in August at our draft party. Here are two questions, a double whammy. Start with where you think he should be drafted and where you think he's going to end up being drafted.
I think he should be like a late second, early third.
Agree.
I think he will be an early second. Hype train, bro.
Now, see, my sweaty self by August is probably going to draft him late first.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he might end up going late first.
Yeah. I mean,
Clyde.
It does definitely seem like the community, the fantasy community, and a lot of like experts are kind of torn on Najee for some reason.
A little bit. I think more people are pro Najee, but there are definitely a lot of people that are not. And not even that they're necessarily pro Najee. I think they just liked Etienne more, where they liked Javonte Williams more. So they're like, he's not the RB1. It's still this guy. But it's not. It's super like consensus.
Yeah.
Top running back, but for us it is.
I'm just excited. This was literally. I think we talked about it pre-draft. Did something just fall on the floor?
I don't think so.
I totally heard something. Maybe it was just my own brain making things up. Oh, it was my computer with a notification.
Oh,
good job, computer. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted Najee to go to Pittsburgh. We said pre-draft that there was a good chance that he could go to Pittsburgh, and then he went there. So, I'm ecstatic that this happened, because usually your favorite running back doesn't land in a good landing spot. This has happened the last couple of years to me. So I love that Najee's there. Number 2, the number 2 top rookie in fantasy football this year is Javonte Williams. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to think.
And that is?
He landed in a terrible landing spot.
I think it's a decent one, to be honest. And
so this is, like Rick said, this is where a draft night, when he got drafted, was the second round, 3. Second night of the draft, me and you were both like, went to Denver.
We both were like,
and then it took us a day. And Rick will give his thoughts on what we changed our mind to.
Yeah. At first, we were both not into it, but then, after thinking about it for a little while, I actually like the landing spot. It's an offense that, yes, the quarterback position is a little confusing, but they have a lot of weapons. The offensive line, at least they think, isn't bad. It wasn't horrible last year. And it kind of is a situation where it feels like DeAndre Swift from last year, where at the beginning of the season, he was competing with Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson, and then he ended up winning the job halfway through the year, and it was just phenomenal after that point. I think Melvin Gordon is going to be the guy at the beginning of the year, and they're kind of ease Javonte Williams into the role. But by the end of the season, you will see Javonte Williams getting a lot of work in an offense that could be a lot better this year than it was last year. They obviously have Cortland Sutton coming back as well. And they spent a high capital on him. So I think they're going to use him a lot. It might take a few games, but I think in the end, it'll be considered a very good landing spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there is a good chance, and I've said this many times, that I think back in the day, Melvin Gordon was injury prone. He still is. And I think there's a good shot that he probably misses 4 to 5 games.
That too.
And so
that too.
I think, but I do want to look at Denver's split totals last year for the running back position, because I think it'll give us a good insight into what this team is going to look like.
To be fair, I think Melvin Gordon did miss like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a little, but.
So Melvin had
still 200 carries.
Through 15 games, he had 215 carries, and then, which is surprising, he went to freaking Denver and actually played most of his games. And then Phillip Lindsay had 118 carries through 11 games. So what I would say, for the most part,
with Lindsay gone as well.
Yeah, with Lindsay gone, like, are we gonna see? Because if you pace that out to a full season for Phillip Lindsay, it's probably right around 150. If I'm making the right guesstimations.
That seems about right.
So if that is, it's about 10 carries a game, which is through 16 games, 160 carries. So or 170 carries. If Javonte comes in and Melvin Gordon plays a full slate of games, and then Phillip Lindsay not Phillip Lindsay, but Javonte comes in and takes 171 carries, are you okay with that year one?
Not if it stays like that, but I think I think that'll be the pace beginning of the year. They're going to use Javonte like Phillip Lindsay, and then at some point in the year, Javonte is going to take over the role. I mean, Dobbins did it over Ingram. Swift did it over Peterson.
Right.
I think Javonte will do it over an older Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, and I think that's a solid point, because last year
you are kind of banking on that, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you draft Javonte Williams, you are banking on that. But that's what we were having trouble with last year with guys that we really liked, like DeAndre Swift and even Jonathan Taylor. And really the only back that we were kind of excited about was the one that was going to get the opportunities, which was Clyde. And he certainly wasn't the best running back. Certainly wasn't best running back in the class. So it was like, we all were like, okay, you got to get Clyde because Mahomes is going to throw it to him 640 times and. Every single pat. I didn't say that. You didn't say that, but the community did. Yeah. So anyway, but Javonte Williams could come in and be like a J.K. Dobbins, be like a Jonathan Taylor, be like a DeAndre Swift, where the guy who you think is the starter may not end up being the starter by the end of the season. Now, this is Melvin Gordon too. We're talking about. It's not like, like Marlon Mack. He's not Marlon Mack. He's not.
But Melvin Gordon is injury prone, and I think I want to say 27, 28.
Let me pull it up.
So it's not like it's prime Melvin Gordon. I think you're kind of
still that young.
Yeah, 28. So
yeah,
I mean, but still 28 for a running back is kind of you're pushing it at that point. So I think at least halfway through this, I would say by like week 8 or 9, Javonte Williams will take over as a workhorse, and once he reaches that point, he's gonna be a beast.
Now, there is a chance that he doesn't take over as a workhorse at all, and if he does get 170 rushing attempts and like 20-something catches, and he gets around 190 to 200 touches, it really is going to depend on efficiency. I think they do have a good offensive line there in Denver, at least a decent one.
It's like average.
Yeah, so it's not Pittsburgh's offense.
No, it's better than Pittsburgh, yeah.
So, but I think with his physical traits and his abilities, I think he can definitely get himself at least a large role in this offense, because it looks like if you go on a game by game basis, it was probably split 12-8 or 10-14 in terms of carries per running back.
Yeah.
So if that's what happens with Javonte, even if he doesn't usurp the starting role, he could end up being a top 24 running back. That is not out of the realm of possibility. So, anywho, same question: where you draft him? Where do you want? Where do you think he's going to end up?
Where did Swift go 5th round last year?
5th or 6th.
I would say that's where he should go, and I think he'll probably go around there too.
Yeah. Do you think he's similar to like a Montgomery when Montgomery came in and it was like 4th round by the time the drafts came around?
Yeah, maybe. I think that might be around too early, just because I don't think like week 1, week 2, week 3. I think he's probably going to get less carries than
that's true.
Those other guys. But yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Okay, so the third guy on the list is Jamar Chase. I'm gonna quickly go through my feelings on Jamar Chase. He's incredible. Was he number 5 overall?
Yes.
Highest wide receiver drafted since Corey Davis, is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Right? So, or was it Julio? Julio was 7, right? 7 or 8?
Yeah, no, there was another receiver who was like top 7, and he ended up being a complete bust. I don't remember his name.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think Corey Davis was the last one.
Chase is a ridiculous wide receiver. He has insane talent. And he was the 101, he was the number 1 wide receiver in 2019's class, not just 2020's class. So
as a 19-year-old,
so he would have been ranked if you took the two classes, put them together. He would have been ranked number 1 in both classes. Now some people might be like, oh, whatever, dude. He's going to the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's playing with Joe Burrow, his old alma mater quarterback at LSU. So I think Jamar Chase is like, I heard somebody on Twitter the other day saying that Jamar Chase wasn't going to be good because he's got to build a connection or a rapport with Joe Burrow. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't watch college football at all? Or study anything? Because Jamar Chase was with Joe Burrow for a year or 2 years. So I think the connection is going to be there for those guys. The question is how much, and this is why initially when Rick wanted to put him on the list, I was a little bit hesitant, is because how much opportunity is actually going to be there for Jamar Chase in his rookie season, right? He's coming in as the 3rd wide receiver, essentially. I think he should be the 2nd or 1st wide receiver, but Tyler Boyd is still there, and T. Higgins is still there.
Yeah.
I feel the same, bro. I feel the same. Did you know I looked at the stats for the Bengals, and did you know last year AJ Green, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd all reached over 100 targets?
So here's what I will tell you. Yes, that happened last year, and Burrow got hurt in week 10. At that point, he had 405 passing attempts.
Yep.
So he was on pace for like 700 passing attempts.
I don't have a problem.
Not saying that's going to happen, but the Bengals might throw the ball the most this season. And sure, that might be the depth chart in the preseason. But once Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase get on the field together, they have a connection. That's Burrow's guy. That is Burrow's main guy in college. He's going to immediately want to get him the ball. I could see by like week 3.
Yeah.
At most, because if you look at last year, Justin Jefferson, week 3.
Yeah.
that's when he exploded. First 2 weeks of the season,
right?
He was, I mean, I don't want to say trash, but he wasn't playing much. And then week 3, boom, he explodes. I think that's gonna be the same thing. Might even be sooner. Might be week 2.
Okay.
I think away Jamar Chase.
That's fair.
Pops off. I think he leads the team in targets, and that's not even saying Higgins or Boyd does bad. I mean, they all had 100 targets last year and 580 pass attempts.
Jamar Chase.
If Burrow plays the full season, that's going to be more. That could be close to 700 pass attempts.
Jamar Chase is going to play the AJ Green alpha role in that offense. Not that AJ Green was any kind of alpha when he was playing last year, but just the style of receiver that he is, he's going to play the outside. Tyler Boyd's going to play inside, and Higgins is going to play, the other side of the field. So, essentially, your I think it's Y and Z receivers are going to be Chase and Higgins, and I think you're right. I think by the end of the season, Chase will have the most targets on the team. But the question is, do they want to throw him out there?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's the same argument with Javonte Williams, where it's
where you before the pod you said this is the Justin Jefferson. Did you say that during the pod?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So you say he's this year's Justin Jefferson, which I'm not going to disagree with. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But I will say Justin Jefferson came in as the number 2 I think it was that Chad Olabisi was their second wide receiver before they drafted Justin Jefferson. So Jamar Chase comes into a wide receiver room that already has Tyler Boyd, that already has T.
So
Higgins,
he's the third guy.
So
in an offense that throws the ball a lot more than
yes, right. So my point is that you're right. Easy money. No, but my argument is that I think that it's hard to do what Justin Jefferson did on 120 targets.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm not saying Jamar Chase is going to be the wide receiver 6, or else he'd probably be number 1 on this list, or number 2. But I think he's still going to be fantasy relevant.
No, but I think if he does hit 120 targets, I mean, it's ridiculous that 3 wide receivers on the team had 100 plus targets anyway.
Yeah.
So, and that was with Joe Burrow playing 10 games. No, not with Joe Burrow playing 10 games, but you get the picture. So, but this offense too, I also want to note that this Bengals offense is cookie cutter 3-year Sean McVay. Like the offense that made got Sean McVay to the Super Bowl, that's the offense that they're running in Cincinnati.
It could be a deadly offense if Burrow doesn't get hit a gazillion times this year.
But like we had years where Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Brandon Cooks all were good. Yep. So if you're worried about Jamar Chase coming into this offense and essentially not having a role because he's a rookie or whatever nonsense they're peddling, they're going to throw it 650 times because they suck. And, I hope the Bengals don't suck, but they might.
They're not going to be as bad as they were last year, but I don't think they're a playoff team with that defense.
But anyway, so I think for me, Jamar Chase is a really good player to have. Now, the real question is, where does he land?
That's a total question. Where does CeeDee go? Like 7th round?
Yeah.
7th, 8th round?
To be honest with you,
I think he might go higher than that.
I hope
he might go like 6th round.
6th or 7th round is comfortable for me. I don't like drafting rookie wide receivers, so.
I would say the same thing. I would say like 7th, 8th. I would take him, but
even like he's gonna get drafted because he was the first wide receiver. Like he's not gonna be a guy that you can pick up off the waiver wire.
He'll probably go like 6th round.
So for me personally, I just don't draft rookie wide receivers, especially that high when I could be getting other players,
proven guys. Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about the next guy, Travis Etienne. This is such an unfortunate landing
To be
spot.
fair, can I say this? I would put Kyle Pitts here, maybe even ahead of. No, I won't put him at. I'd put him at 4, but Morgan refused to put Kyle Pitts on this list. Just so you guys know, it wasn't me. When you guys are in the comments and saying, "Where's Kyle Pitts?" It wasn't me. It was him. To put all the blame on him.
You want Kyle Pitts year 1? They haven't even traded Julio yet, so we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Yeah, but I before the show I go, okay, so Julio gets traded. You still don't want Kyle Pitts on this list. He's like,
I said
no way,
nope.
No way. There's a ton of guys. I'm like, who would you put over him?
Maybe 6.
There's a ton of guys.
Can it be 6?
You said there was a ton of guys.
All right, you just,
don't try to reel in your bad take. I am, because this is a bad take to me.
Yeah, I really don't think Kyle Pitts is going to be
okay. We'll see.
The tight end 1. But anyway, so Travis Etienne comes into this list, and it's kind of I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I really am still on the fence with Travis Etienne. He's talented, really good wide receiver. Really good running back. I think the main reason the coach Urban Meyer tried to explain away this draft pick, and he made it worse by saying that he's going to be the third down running back. I know what this team is trying to do. They're trying to get weapons for their guy Trevor Lawrence, and Lawrence had been playing with Etienne at Clemson. So not only did he get a guy that that he thinks can help the offense, but he also got a guy that Trevor Lawrence knows.
Right.
I think he is a better running back than James Robinson, and I think there's a lot of people are going to hate on that. But James Robinson went and drafted. Travis Etienne went in the first round. So
I can't disagree with that.
I think Travis Etienne. I have my concerns about him finishing as an RB1 or even a top 15 running back. I really do, but I think that by the end of the season, you're going to see Etienne playing out of the slot. You're going to see Etienne getting pass-catching work out of the backfield, and you're going to see Etienne, even if he only gets 175 to 200 carries, get that work as well. I think Alvin Kamara, his first season, didn't reach 200-plus carries. I think he had like 100 targets, or he had 80 catches and like 160, 175 rushing attempts in his first season. So I think this is going to be very similar to that situation where you see James Robinson play the Mark Ingram role and you see Travis Etienne play the Kamara role. That is very much, I hate to bring that comparison back to life, which we'll do every year until somebody repeats it. But or you look at the Browns and how they utilize Chubb and how they utilize Kareem Hunt. I think you could see a similar situation with Etienne and James Robinson. So I think the fact that he even put James Robinson / was it Carlos Hyde in that conversation as a 1-2 punch, I'm like, shut up, Urban.
Oh, I know, it's so gross.
Disgusting.
I think Etienne, he's not ahead of Harris or Williams for me, but
I think I just talked myself into liking Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I still think they're going to use James Robinson a lot on the ground, and I think they will use Etienne on the ground, but I think it's going to be like a split. But he'll be fantasy relevant because I think he'll get a good amount of pass catching work, and I think your point is valid with playing him in the slot potentially too. Urban Meyer likes his weapons. He wanted Kadarius Toney at that spot. Yeah. He likes. I think he's gonna like Shenault, but he's gonna move him all around the field.
Right.
He likes end arounds. Like you'll see a lot of Etienne on the field. I don't know how fantasy relevant he's going to be, but I think the draft capital, they will still use him a good amount.
Yeah.
And I think he'll still be at least decently fantasy relevant, just not as much as the top 3 guys.
Fair enough. And then the final. Well, you know what? We didn't even talk about where he's going to land. I jumped the gun on that.
He might go like 5th round 2, and I wouldn't take him there. I would probably take him
5th, 6th round might be.
I would take him
for
6th. Yeah. I think 5th round is a little too early. I think Javonte is going to be there too, and I would take Javonte.
I see. This is where I'm going to get myself caught up in a trap because Jonathan Taylor was like, for the fantasy community, was a 3rd round pick last year, and in a lot of drafts that I did that were just like home leagues or gambling leagues or don't have people in the fantasy community on Twitter and all that stuff, they were drafting Jonathan Taylor like 4th round, 5th round. And so I felt like I was getting a steal, and I drafted Jonathan Taylor. And so, not that Travis Etienne has dropped Jonathan Taylor, but I feel like I could definitely get into the 3rd round. I mean, not get into the 5th, 6th round and be okay with drafting Travis Etienne, especially if he's there and there's basically no running backs left on the board at that point.
Yeah.
Because of the way the drafts work in redraft nowadays. You could definitely see Etienne be a valuable option in those 2 rounds, but I think it's a very, very risky situation.
Right.
So anyway, let's move on to the next guy, Devonta Smith. Tell us why we should be drafting Devonta Smith in redraft.
All right. Devonta Smith again. I like Devonta Smith. Would put Kyle Pitts here.
Not that we should be drafting Devonta Smith.
Well, he's going to have
a
a good rookie year because I think he can walk into the opportunity of what you just said earlier when we were talking about.
I can't wait to get roasted for saying don't draft rookie running back because we're running rookie wide receivers, and then on this show say we're going to draft rookie wide receivers.
Yeah, but when we were talking about Jamar Chase earlier, you brought up how Justin Jefferson walked into a situation where he was the wide receiver 2. That's going to be Devonta Smith. Heck, Do you think he beats out Jalen Reagor for wide receiver 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And, the concerns
they
with
traded
Smith,
up for this guy. They traded up
They
for this
made
guy.
sure they got him because they missed on Lamb last year. Smith is their guy. He's going to probably be the wide receiver 1 very quickly in that offense.
Yeah.
It's just how much do you believe in Hurts? How much do you believe they're going to throw the ball?
Mm-hmm.
There's questions involving that, but opportunity-wise, he should get immediate opportunity, and that's why he's on this list. He's a candidate too for being this year's Justin Jefferson. I mean, if they target him 100+ times and he's the number 1 guy in that offense, he could have a very good fantasy season. I just don't. I think the connection with Burrow and Chase and how much that offense throws the ball is why I would put Chase ahead of Smith compared to the Eagles. You don't know what they're gonna do. Jalen Hurts, we've seen flashes of it, but is he really a great NFL quarterback passing the football? We don't really know yet.
Right.
So there's a lot more question marks with Devonta Smith, but still could be a good late round flyer that ends up having a good season.
Now, I don't know where Devonta Smith is going to end up going. That's a hella concern for me. I don't know. I think he'll end up in the 10th round.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately.
10th round. 10th. I would take him in the 10th round for a chance to be this year's Justin Jefferson. I would take a flyer on that.
Oh, wait, 10th round wide receivers too are just garbage.
Exactly. That too.
Most of the time. I'm trying to find his ADP right now. It's probably nowhere, but he is currently getting drafted according to Fantasy Football Calculator in the Jamar Chase is 1105. So this is probably fudged.
Ooh, he's 1105.
Pants
Smith, are coming off.
Devonta Smith 1207. So
pants are also coming off.
Yeah, I think the rookie wide receivers have some climbing to do,
but they will.
Yes.
Remember last year?
So, but the fact that right now Devonta Smith's 12-7, I think he'll probably be 8th, 9th round pick by the time August floats around.
And then that's kind of
But like Rick said, I think he can be. He's the one wide receiver in this class. Like you have Jalen Waddle, he's going to be the wide receiver too, but he's got to compete with a couple of guys there, right? You have Jamar Chase. We talked about the other 2 guys in that offense. Yes, he's probably going to get opportunity, but he's still got to compete with these 2 other guys. See, when you say Jamar Chase could be the next Justin Jefferson, I'm like, I feel like he could be CeeDee Lamb, because when you look at what CeeDee Lamb walked into last year, I'm not saying that anyone compares to Amari Cooper in that offense, but
because I was just going to say, I think he like CeeDee Lamb, like Amari Cooper, and I like T. Higgins. But I don't know at this point in his career if he's Amari Cooper.
So it's not a black and white comparison. But Devonta Smith, Devonta Smith's walking into a situation where he could end up being the number 1 wide receiver in the offense.
Yep.
And if Jalen Hurts does come out and play really well next year, then Devonta Smith is going to get 120 plus targets. And if he's efficient with that target share, then he most definitely could be. If there's any class that's going to have success year 1, I think it's this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm convinced of that. But
last year had pretty good success year 1.
It's true. But I think Devonta Smith, we talked about him a lot this offseason. I think.
I actually think it'll be less guys this year than there was last year. But
that's fair.
I think you can get a handful of guys.
I just feel like a lot of teams that, like I said, Jamar Chase is going to a team where he's going to get opportunity. Jalen Waddle's joining up with Tua, his old teammate, and he's going to be the second wide receiver on that team. Devonta Smith might be the number 1 wide receiver on his team when it's all said and done. Even Terrace Marshall, drafted second round pick 27.
He'll probably be
this third wide receiver on that team. So it's like, there are guys who are going to have the opportunity. Bateman, even, I'm not excited about Bateman's landing spot with the Ravens, but he's going to be the number 2, maybe number 1 wide receiver on that football team. So it's like there's guys who are going to have that opportunity, and we'll see what happens. But Devonta Smith, I mean, if I'm going to draft 2 wide receivers, probably these 2.
Agreed. 100%.
And then Rick wanted to argue about Kyle Pitts.
I mean, we kind of already talked about it.
We're gonna bypass that, but maybe we'll leave the show arguing about Kyle Pitts.
I think Kyle Pitts should have been on this list, and we didn't put him on. That's all. That's all I want to say.
I don't think Kyle Pitts is going to finish.
Especially if Julio is gone, I think he's going to get targeted.
That's fair.
And he's going to play. You're going to get essentially a wide receiver.
Does he play at wide receiver?
He lined up at tight end, and he lined up at wide receiver in Florida, yeah.
And in Atlanta, does he line up as Julio Jones 2.0?
If Julio's gone, you're going to see him lined up at tight end, and I think you're going to see him lined up on the outside.
If Julio's gone.
he's going to play some of the Julio.
I'm buying Calvin Ridley shares.
Hey, I bought him today, bro, in my Dynasty League that I'm drafting right now and on the clock, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you're OTC. Okay. Who do you got? Who do you got? What's your option?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I have to look.
Okay.
It's late. Right. It's late in the draft.
So you need to get the Kyle Pitts out of your pants. It'll take a couple months, but I'll remove the situation here.
Not going to happen. See you later, guys.
See you Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.